surprised, Murphy?
In the last episode, Murphy was attacked by a mysterious assailant just for stealing some food. The bullet that hit his chest was contaminated with his blood and then penetrated another person's heart.
Continues on. It's victim number 2 in the heart.
As a result, Greg didn't die immediately but instead became a half-human, half-zombie, barely hanging on. Although Murphy's injury isn't fatal, he has been in a coma with no sign of waking up. All they can do now is wait. Doc suggests that if they give Greg more of Murphy's blood, he might wake up and clarify what happened. As he speaks, Doc stuffs a blood-soaked cloth into Greg's mouth, which Greg sucks on vigorously. Although Greg hasn't woken up yet, his high fever has subsided, and his breathing has become regular. It seems the effect will show soon. Roberta, not wanting to just wait, decides to go to Gideon to ask for some food to replenish their strength. They plan to leave this troublesome place as soon as Murphy wakes up. Gideon readily agrees and expresses his apologies for the attack incident. Roberta just gives a faint smile. After a few hours of interaction, she has realized that Gideon is actually a hypocrite. Gideon, although speaking righteously and constantly claiming democracy in the group, is actually a controlling politician, always ready with a grand speech. His apology and willingness to offer food are just to maintain his glowing image. However, when Gideon and Roberta arrive at the storage room, they are shocked. The room is in disarray, and all the food on the shelves has disappeared. Roberta, drawing her long knife, goes inside, suspecting that the thief might still be there, but as soon as she enters the corridor, a zombie lunges at her. This zombie was the newly appointed storage room manager by Gideon, now turned into a zombie. Roberta kicks the zombie outside. A passing woman is instantly tackled to the ground by the zombie. 10K, hearing the noise, arrives just in time and easily takes down the zombie with his slingshot. He rushes to help the woman, but it's a bit too late. Fortunately, Vasquez arrives in time to prevent a worse outcome. Gideon is confused. Iggy was banished, so who is stealing and killing behind the scenes? Before he can think further, 2 gunshots are heard in the distance, coming from the room where Murphy is.
Doc, what happened?
Some zombie-loving bastard took a shot at me!
Did you see who it was?
No, but they went that way!
Let's go. Addie, 10K, stay with them!
When Roberta and others chase after the sound, the perpetrator has already vanished. She orders them to split into pairs and search separately. Addie and Dana had just reached the east corridor of the motel when they heard noises from a room. On high alert, they cautiously drew their weapons and proceeded forward. The person they were after was armed too. Addie asked Dana to cover her as she checked the adjacent room. It was at this time that a dark figure carrying a large bag passed through the room. Dana didn't shoot, even calmly making eye contact with the person. She didn't notice 2 zombies approaching from behind. It was Addie who came out, saw them, and pulled Dana into a room, hiding in a wardrobe. Coincidentally, the zombies headed their way. They held their breath, trying not to make a sound, and the zombies slowly turned away and left. But Dana, inappropriately fearful of dying in the motel, pleaded with Addie again to take her away, attracting the zombies' attention once more. Suddenly, Addie saw Roberta and Vasquez at the door, ready to shoot the zombies. She quickly pulls Dana down, and if their reaction had been a moment slower, they might have been accidentally shot. Before they could even greet each other, the figure reappeared in the corridor. Roberta quickly took the lead in the pursuit.
Get up!
Get him?
Without a doubt, the operation failed, and the person managed to slip away. Elsewhere, Murphy was trembling but still unconscious. He was having a long dream, seemingly back at the Grand Canyon where countless zombies were falling off. Murphy always fancied himself as the king of zombies, and watching his subjects jump off filled him with sadness. As Murphy dreamt, the surrounding zombies seemed to sense his call and started converging on the motel, with one even poking its head inside. The people at the motel screamed in panic. X-Squad is undaunted by this. Roberta, with swift movements, decapitates the zombies with her knife.
We can't defend the perimeter much longer.
It's like they're suddenly attracted to this place.
The situation was dire. More zombies were gathering outside, and the glass being pounded by them showed cracks. To make matters worse, zombies previously sealed on the upper floors of the motel broke through and headed downstairs. They were undoubtedly surrounded. The wire mesh wouldn't hold for long. Before they could devise a plan, the glass wall in the lobby shattered, and a swarm of zombies flooded in. In a panic, they rushed into the room where the injured were, only to find Doc stuffing Murphy's fingers into Greg's mouth. Gideon looks confused and doesn't understand what Doc is trying to do.
Alternative medicine.
This is a really small space to spend the rest of your life.
Well, thanks for the positive vibe, sweetheart.
Hey, don't talk to her like that.
Hey, you can relax, buddy.
He's being sarcastic and rude.
No, I'm not. You need to chill out, lady.
I told you not to talk to her like that.
Who are you talking?
Faced with fear, the motel's unweathered greenhouse flowers start to panic, noisily voicing their concerns all at once. The X-team tried to reassure them, but the mix of voices was too much for Roberta.
Calm down. Now do your little stick thing.
There's no way around it. Gideon, holding the speaking stick, steps forward. The motel members of the hotel are very disdainful. This guy is going to start his moralising again. Gideon righteously declares that they need to find the murderer causing trouble. Before he can finish, Doc's voice rings out in surprise. Greg, having consumed enough blood, is starting to wake up, asking him should clarify who the killer is.
Who shot you?
Although Greg has become a half-zombie like Cassandra, his memory remains. He held out his finger and began to identify it. It turns out to be Travis, who has always been low-key in the motel. It's unexpected that he would do such a thing, but the surprises don't stop there.
Dana, get over here. Come on, baby. We're getting out of here.
I never wanted anybody to get hurt.
Dana, to everyone's shock, is also Travis's accomplice. Dana never intended to harm anyone. She just wanted to live freely outside, away from Gideon's daily nagging.
I would rather take my chances out there than die in here listening to you.
Okay, go.
Gideon no longer insists. If they want to leave, then let them go. But he mocks Dana's naivety, warning her of the dangers outside. The atmosphere in the hall becomes tense with the sound of gunshots. The people in the motel, unsure of who the enemy is, feel a sense of security in holding their guns. Suddenly, the deceased Travis turns into a zombie.
Oh my God!
Dana grieves intensely for 3 seconds before immediately turning to Addie. With her support gone, she now places her hope in Addie, but Addie shook his head. Dana was hiding too much and almost killed Murphy. Addie had lost all the goodwill he had for her. These events leave Gideon, a man of strong control, feeling humiliated. He blames everything on X-Squad's arrival. Thus, Gideon urges X-Squad to leave, but Roberta is not afraid of him. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. The group exchanges glances, wondering if they heard wrong or if zombies have learned to knock. Roberta doesn't want to guess. She instructs Addie and 10K to prepare to open the door, ready to deal with whoever or whatever is on the other side.
Or you ready for anything?
No, wait. No, let's talk about
Don't open
this.
that door.
To their surprise, outside the door is Iggy, who was banished by Gideon, holding a hammer and covered in blood. One can only imagine how many zombies he's met out there.
No thanks to any of you.
I am so sorry.
Ignatius, you have every right to be angry. The process failed you. So on behalf of everyone, I just want to say that we're sorry.
Facing apologies, Iggy scoffs. His few words are spoken lightly and casually. Gideon, ever the hypocrite, starts moralizing again, subtly urging Iggy to be forgiving.
There is something I'd like to say.
Sure.
For all the people who aren't here to speak for themselves. Thank you.
The motel members secretly rejoice. having long disapproved of Gideon. Then, Murphy opens his eyes. With Murphy's awakening, the zombies outside gradually disperse, sensing that their king is safe. The next day, X Squad prepares to depart again. Iggy, now in clean clothes and with Gideon gone, has also returned to the motel. He provides Roberta and her team with a car and food. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they part ways.
How you feeling, princess?
I have an apocalyptic headache.